Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sales Ops Effect. You're with me, Charlene Thompson, and we have a lovely guest, Petra Fisher, who is a LinkedIn lead generation expert with us. This is the Sales Ops Effect, where we drive predictable growth in small to medium-sized businesses. Hello, Petra. How are you?
Hi, Charlene. I'm well. Thanks for having me. And we're both tea lovers, aren't we? Which is always really good.
Yes, fantastic. So that's basically what we've been talking about for a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about lead generation, marketing in general. I think it's going to be a nice rounded conversation. So I will start with this question. What made you focus on LinkedIn out of all of the different social media channels?
So part of it is laziness. Like when I very first started out and I still had a job and, it was a side hustle, I was going to be the social media trainer. I very quickly realized that I don't want to keep up with all the different things. Mind you, back then, all the different things, we only had LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, but even then. And why LinkedIn? Because it has these different aspects, how it has the profile and the post, so the community and the relationship building. Because before I became an entrepreneur, and I have this long-term background in various social work roles. And so I found when I still tried to do everything, when I was working with someone on LinkedIn and when I was helping them with their profile, I asked questions, about all the different roles they had. And then I see a common thread and whatnot. And so helping people become aware of their own strengths and then own them and know how to present them. I guess that is really closely related to my social work background. And then from there, it slowly morphed into marketing. But I guess that is why I liked LinkedIn the most about the different platforms.
That's cool. I like that. And so, like you said, there wasn't that many at the time. And sorry, did you say how long you've been doing this for now?
13 years.
Wow. Yes.
So it was a side hustle first. I slowly morphed into reducing my working hours in the day job, doing more in here until I was looking at the day job as a side hustle and thought.
So some people find LinkedIn to be a bit dry. And I know that could be partly because of who you're following, because if who you're following, those people don't post that much, or they only post in very official corporate speak, then it's difficult to get into.
Yeah.
Do you find it dry? Is like, what are the differences between LinkedIn and, let's say, Instagram? I don't want to compare it to TikTok because that's a different world entirely.
So to a point, I don't understand Instagram because, on LinkedIn and Facebook, if you post something and someone comments, then part of their friends see it, and Instagram doesn't have that. I meet people who are scared to post on LinkedIn and they do brilliant stuff on Instagram. And I'm thinking, you can literally use that. So the way I look at it, because, people say, oh, but LinkedIn, it's professional or business or whatnot. Yeah, LinkedIn is what you use for work-related stuff. So when you're a business owner, I would say when you work with a client, what kind of clothes do you wear? Because I only wear t-shirts or hoodies. So that's how I show up on LinkedIn. When you work with a client, how do you speak? Like, are you casual or formal? Chat you to the point? Do you let the occasional oh crap fly? Or are you a bit more, and literally show up like that on LinkedIn? Because if you are a business owner or work for a company and you deal with clients, the way you show up when you work with your clients, when you talk to a prospect, that is exactly how you show up on LinkedIn. And, these days, a lot of people on LinkedIn complain. They say it's becoming too Facebooky and people post too much personal stuff. And I'm sort of like, you don't have to read it, but it's like, ultimately, we're humans who do business with each other, right? So show up as a human.
I love that you said that because I've been having a lot of arguments with myself recently about that. Because when you look online about how to make your videos social media worthy. Everywhere it's just like you have to talk at a certain speed. You definitely have to make sure you get your hooks in. You have to put a lot of energy into things. You have to make sure you change your background every 4.5 seconds because people don't have an attention span. And then they say, and then you have to be authentic. The thing is, me personally, and this could be a neurodivergent thing, I'm not sure, but regardless, me personally, the reason why hooks are so valuable on videos is because when people are scrolling through their video feed, they're doing it for the dopamine release. They're getting a nice little drip feed of, so you need to hook them out of the endless scroll so that they pay attention. Now, that doesn't vibe with me authentically because that's not who I am in the real world. In no way, shape, or form do I go around pulling off people's headphones, effectively saying, hey, look at this. Let me tell you about sales ops. I used to have a really hard time with those instructions of, be your authentic self, and be a little bit controversial and whatever. I'm not controversial really, unless it's to people who are already very, very hateful. Then to hateful people, I am controversial simply by existing. That's not what authenticity means to a lot of people. And even when you talk to people that are very good at those videos, they have to get themselves in a different mindset in order to be able to do them. And then therefore it becomes a performance. And some people enjoy the performance and enjoy the drama. And I am not a performer.
Look, you don't have to. So it's interesting. I'm not convinced it's a good thing, but LinkedIn has introduced in the mobile app a feed now that is like the other platforms to doom scroll, right? This is recommended videos or something, and then you swipe up and then you go forever. But look, as far as hooks go, we somehow need them. Even if it's not video, let's say there was a written post. And if you were to, maybe you attended a conference and one of the speakers said something really interesting and you want to post about that. The biggest mistake I see people make is that they do that whole introduction. Like, last week I was at blah, 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 where this, where that. That's not going to stop the scroll. When you write that post, look at it, and I can guarantee you it's your third, maybe second paragraph. That is the opening. That is where you get to the point, and then if you also want the world to read between the lines, know like, hey, I was at that conference, I keep up what's happening in my industry, and you put that a little bit later, because we got to remember, any social media, no attention span, and especially as neurodivergent, well, I got pills now, but otherwise, it's like you're really easily distracted. So yes, the little bit before see more needs to grab the attention. If you do video, generally, instead of saying, hi, I'm Shalene and I help this and that, which I would start with, where you at? So these are things you need to have a little bit of that kind of marketing stuff. But other than that, be as real as you can. The other day, I did some videos because I was a friend of mine from New York who is a really good presentation coach was in Amsterdam, and we did this canal cruise, right? And she starts recording content. And I think, oh, I should do this too. That I didn't pay attention to what was going on around me. So you could hear the captain doing his guided commentary of the city almost as loudly as me. So I was thinking, I don't try and edit that out. I just think, most people won't turn on sound anyway, and they'll read the captions. Who cares? Like, what you see is what you get. And that is how I show up on LinkedIn.
I like that a lot. And interestingly, something that you've just said really hit home for me, thank goodness, because like I said, I've been having a hard time with this. Where you said it's like and that should probably be like the second or third paragraph or sentence. I'm wondering if that's because of how we were taught to write, just people of our general generation. Because for many of us, our first social media platforms were MySpace or Facebook. And I joined Facebook very late. It was probably 2009, maybe.
I was late too.
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s, I think, maybe early 20s. But I did have MySpace or whatever it was before that. And even just when you're at school, you're taught to write by setting the scene. You're not taught to get to the main wow point and then come back around, because you're kind of looping on yourself. And so that is how you would see a lot of things when people did write long stories and on Facebook. That is how you would see it. because that's how we were taught to write. So to get
Yeah.
out of, unless you've got a natural marketing mind, to get out of that formatting, then would you recommend writing down what you would want to say in the way that you would normally say it, and then maybe using AI to find the really powerful sentence, start with that, and then have the rest of the story rewritten so that it follows nicely afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the time, once you've written it, you don't even need AI. You can, once you've heard our conversation, you can see it yourself, because once you start reading it, you think, oh, this is the bit I was going to tell, and open with that. And you're right. We've been taught to write in a certain way. And sometimes you should not do that. Like a few years ago, what I used to do, because ideally, if you end with a question, people might want to answer it. That's how you get engagement, how you get visibility. What I used to do a few years ago, I'd open with a question in all caps, goes against everything people tell you. And then I'd write my post. So the question in all caps and the words that followed were almost disconnected, but it was that. And then at the end, I repeated the question, because there's people that are so keen to have their say, they might even read your post. You just answer it straight away. Yeah. And but like you said, if you don't see it yourself, you could feed it to AI and say, what is the most, look, this is my target audience. This is, why they need to know I exist. What is the most appealing bit in here to them? I put that first, and you can do that. I do it a lot with my clients. Often, people put the draft in a Google Doc, and I go in there and I'm like, okay, this is what we want, and I help them. But yeah, people don't really need me anymore now that they got ChatGPT.
Because it's like, yes, ChatGPT is come a long way, even in the last, what is it, year or two, but it's still only as good as what you put into it and how you frame it. And unless you're very,
Absolutely.
very good at that prompting,
Yeah.
then it's only going to give you so results. It's not the same as a human, and it shouldn't ever be, really. So
Yeah.
going down to some of the basics, then how often would you suggest people post? Because like you said, LinkedIn has the app which has the video feed on it now. And interestingly, just side note, I was thinking about doing more relaxed video content, which would require me just talking and then having to edit it afterwards rather than having to prepare what I'm saying because it comes
Yeah.
out in each voice. But how often would you suggest people post? Because obviously, to post for something that works in a video feed, when you look at it on the normal LinkedIn feed, it looks very weird to just see a quick 1 minute video and then very, very little in the caption. Because when you're on a video feed, you're not really going to read the caption. When you're scrolling
Yeah.
through on your PC, you might, because it's LinkedIn. So you expect to see lots of words. So how often would you suggest people post? And do you think there's any benefit to forcing yourself to give a lot of variety, or would it be more beneficial for you to go with the vibe that works best for you, like write if you're a writer kind of thing?
Yeah. Great question. Um, because it's easy to say, like, oh yeah, you got to post every day, and you got to make sure that there's at least one video a week and one long form, one short form, etc. But what I think is way more important, both in the kind of content that you create and how often you do it, is that you find the sort of most you can do while feeling happy about doing it. If it feels like, oh, now I got to do that, that's going to affect what you do as well. Even if you force yourself to be all happy and cheerful, it's not real. Find the kind of format, and if you can find 2 or 3 different ones, cool. If not, that you actually enjoy creating. Think about, if you post twice a week, you actually kind of look forward to it once you've given yourself permission to not be formal and stiff, but to be just you. And as soon as it's 3 or 4, you think, ugh, then you don't, because ultimately it's a long-term game. So it's like with you, how you really focus on people with their sales, where a lot of them go through the ups and downs, the I lived in Darwin for 10 years, so I liked how you called it monsoon and dry, because that's the climate I'm used to. And you really help people to get that pipeline and that flow more consistent. So with your content, you're only going to do that if you enjoy it. So that is what I would work most on. And then often we find if you start something quite manageable and you realize it's not that bad and actually it's kind of fun. And then once it starts to see some results, you'll slowly increase most of the time anyway. But comments can be way more important than content. But if you wrote something and you maxed out on what a LinkedIn post can be, which is, what is it, 3,000 characters or something? That could easily be 10 comments. So if in the same time, you could do one post of 10 comments and you're pressed for time, then that's where you want to focus your energy.
I love that. I love everything that you said. And again, I'm a firm believer of it. And even me, who is a person who always trains people to finding that consistency, and the way you find consistency, as you just said, is finding something that you can be consistent with. It's not trying to mold yourself into something else, because nobody can do that forever. It hurts and it eats at your soul. And that's what I teach when it comes to managing sales. Still succumbed to it when it comes to marketing, because marketing isn't my baby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where you've got comments there, I think that's really, really important. One of the things that I've struggled with sometimes is, but one, there's certain topics that even though I feel very powerfully about them, I don't comment on them.
Yeah.
As you can imagine,
Yeah.
because it's just a lot and it changes your whole feed forevermore, or at least
Yeah.
a couple of weeks. I wouldn't just be like, woohoo,
Yeah.
and walk off. Do you find people struggle, like I have in the past, with comments should take you less time, but at the same time, you're trying to think about saying what you're saying in a very concise way? That's still positive, because, we should never say anything negative on the internet. So there's a, do
Unless
you,
we want to.
and it's just like trying to comment on somebody else's post. You're obviously not going to be promoting, but making sure you comment, making sure you're saying something that's valuable, but not preachy. It's just finding that really fine point can be difficult sometimes. So sometimes that can take time too. But I suppose it's still less time than trying to do your own post.
And for some reason, my brain just comes out with them without thinking, both for myself and for my clients. Somehow I can see a connection everywhere. So when I first realized that some people, some of my clients, they wrote like a 5-line comment and it had taken them 40 minutes. And I was like, what? There's people using engagement pods, where they are in a group and when they post something, they share the link and everybody has to comment within an hour or whatnot. You see a lot of these 1 or 2 word comments. There was talk that the algorithm would penalize content with a lot of short comments to sort of stop that. So I'm really surprised now, because I've got a paid account, that I now get all these 1 and 2 word AI suggestions in one click to do that. But multiple reasons why you want to do a full sentence. First of all, if something very basic, your best friend got not your best friend, someone got a new job, and you just want to be nice, so you say, congratulations. There are going to be 20 people saying congratulations. If you said, congratulations, knowing your strengths about blah, you're going to thrive in this role. First of all, you stand out because you had a sentence. Secondly, we learn something about you, that you're a kind person because you say something meaningful. And then the next level is, ultimately, you can sneak in 1 or 2 keywords into everything without making it about you. So for you, you talk about sales ops. In the example before, if you said something like, whatever the comment was, but you could weave in there that the person did a great job selling themselves for this role, or, it's like just the words we want to be associated with. And after a while, you really see that. This is something I do with my clients all the time. It's like they go like, I want to comment on this, but I don't know what to say. And I'm like, say this, say that. And the other thing, the first thing I usually do with someone, I look at the posts they liked. And then if you and I were screen sharing it or not, and I could see something that you liked, I would say to you, okay, Shalene, why did you like that? You might say, it's someone I know and I wanted to support them. And I go, all right. So if you met in person and they're telling this exciting thing, would you just stare them in the face, stick up your thumb, grin, and say nothing? And you go, no, I would say, all right, there's your comment. If I saw you like something and I asked, why did you like that? And you say, well, this is about whatever topic, and my clients who need to streamline their sales and their pipeline generally are interested in this topic as well. So if I comment, I become visible, I'm like, okay, so what do they need to know about you? If you said, oh yeah, I just found that topic really, really interesting. If I then ask you, what did you find so interesting about it? You don't have to think to answer me. So why do you have to think to write it as a comment? Just imagine my voice in your head, me nagging you, and it'll all come pouring out easily.
I love that. I love that. What did you find interesting? Rather than say something that is powerful, enigmatic, something that people want to reply, all that kind of to do. I love that. So one of the questions that I know people are going to have is, how long does this take to work? Which I know the answer is, how long is a piece of string?
Exactly.
But it's because there's so many people with all different ideas about how LinkedIn works, or TikTok, or Instagram. I think specialists are great, like you. I think that's great. I think one of the things that hurts a lot of business people is when they fall into the trap of thinking that the one thing that they're doing is the only thing that they need to do
Yeah. No.
to grow their business. So
Yeah.
with that said, how long did it take you to pull the plug and get away from your full-time gig to make what you do now your full-time gig?
Yeah. So that's an interesting question, because at first I never planned to make it full time. So I wasn't taking it all that seriously either. To me, it was more
That's
like,
fair.
Monopoly money or something. And money came in. I could, how long does it take? Obviously, it depends on, are you going to post twice a month or twice a week? Are you
Mm,
consistently growing your network and all that? In the past, I only used to work with clients for 12 months, because I said, first, you have a lot of learning to do. Then you
mhm.
got to implement. Then that's got to become a habit. Then it starts to work. So you fall off the wagon, and then that client is finished. But I have now changed it and also allow people to either come in for 3 or 6 months, because some people may be at a point where they're either in a lull in their business, or they've left corporate and got a nice payment set, where they can really go all in 3 months, right? Whereas other people need to balance more things and need longer. But when I was only offering it as 12 months, I was used to say it doesn't take 12 months to get there, but things happen over time, and then I'm still there. And so I always used to say, look, I teach organic, it's not going to happen overnight, but I have clients, if they go all in and do the profile updates that I suggest, so that if your right person lands in your profile, it actually converts, and then started doing the commenting strategy. And I always help people create lists, so that instead of scrolling, if you want to see posts by people in, certain companies that you're interested in, one click and you only see their post. Or if you want to see posts about a certain topic, one click. So speed that up. So I've seen people that, when I thought we were still laying the foundation, they go like, Petra, I commented on that, and then this person reached out, and now I got this 10K gig. And it's like, cool, but you're making me a liar, because I told you it wasn't going to happen that fast.
It's because I'm I know when I ask you something, you're gonna answer me honestly,
Yeah.
not only in marketing speak. Like, who does this work for? This can work for absolutely everyone. Yes, it can. But different people will have to do different things and exchange different amounts of energy in order to get similar results. That's what that means. And I think even from an accessibility standpoint, the wording that's used on a lot of things can be very misleading. But it feels like it's now so in some places so overblown that it leads people down a garden path, and it's making my brain itch.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, first of all, Yeah, I can't make these promises that say like 2 posts a week is 1 high-end client a month and 3 comments a day is 2 low-ticket clients a week. I can't give you the winning lotto numbers either. The other thing is I focus on you becoming so visible that people start talking about you, because I get clients even outside LinkedIn, it's like 2 people talking, waiting at the school gate, and one person talks about something, the other says, "Oh, there's this person I follow on LinkedIn, they look me up." That is what you want. So you don't have to hunt for clients. You need to become really visible for the key thing that you do. So it's easy for people to remember, even the people that aren't your clients, because we don't know who they know. But the other thing, and that is something you also said about your work just before we started this, LinkedIn is only a tool. Like when you help people streamline sales processes and pipeline and things, we can use technology, we can use things. It's only a tool. We've got to do the work, and how we do it depends, So yeah, there's no one size fit all, but I do know, I've been in it for a while. If people work with me and if they do the things that I say, not like I literally say, Charlene, you have to write this in your profile, but I say, hey, this is why. And people land in your profile, they're probably not booking a call. And if we do this, if you fix up your profile, if you follow commenting strategy, posting, we work out which way and what works for you. But if you do that, I know that you're going to get way more people interested in you, but then you still got to close the sale. And yeah, I give people some guidance if they do sales calls or discovery calls, but it's not my total area of expertise. So I don't pretend to be a sales coach or anything. You're still going to be able to close. I can help you get people to come to you.
Thank you so much, Petra. So people who are listening and watching, where would they find you if they wanted to get in touch?
Well, how about LinkedIn?
So that's Petra, Petra Fisher, Fisher on LinkedIn. And the link will also be in the show notes. Do you have any events or anything coming up now soon?
But because people can start working with me at any given time, I don't do launches and start date and doors closing and bye-bye kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So pretty much connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to start updating your profile, I'm happy to share the link with you, Charlene, which explains how to set out the different parts of your profile and why, so that you have a much bigger chance that if your dream client lands, they'll actually get in touch with you.
So like we said, you can get a hold of Petra on LinkedIn, Petra Fisher, and you can also get a hold of me, Charlene Thompson. Our links will be in the show notes. So thank you for listening. And do let us know if you do have any further questions for Petra or myself about LinkedIn or sales consistency and sales operations in general. Then wherever you're watching this or listening to this, if you comment on that, then it will come through to me somehow. So thank you very much. And I hope to be chatting with you all very, very soon. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please look at the list of other episodes. I'm sure there's another one that can help you. See you next time.